through. But how did they get through it? Just as I watched my parents growing up and so many hard times that they had, what they did is they had their full attention on God. They inclined their ear to hear, and they said, we're living for God even if it takes everything that we have. That if we lose it all, we'll continue to live for you, God. And our lives need to begin to reflect that. So our very children look at us and say, I remember what my daddy did. I remember the faith of my father. I remember what it took for him to do this. But guess what? My God still provided. His God provided. And if his God will provide, so will mine. Because I have the same God. Because we serve the same one. That his life was changed forever because of his daddy. And I'm telling you today, maybe you say, well, my kids are already grown. Or I don't have any kids. Let me tell you, be a father or a mother to someone. Let someone around you experience God in your life. Let them see what it's all about. Take someone that's close to you and let them see it. Us as parents need to be doing this, showing your children your faith and who God is that puts you, who you put your trust in. You need to encounter realizing that Christ is the only one that can save your life. He's the only one. That's the kind of encounter the world needs. Is that Jesus Christ is the only Savior that can save your life. There's nothing in this world that can save you. There's nothing in this world that can change you. It's about God alone. Abraham turned his attention towards God, then heard from him. He said, Abraham, Abraham. What he did is he said, yes, Lord, here I am. Yes, here I am. Here I am. And as he began to continue giving his attention, he heard from God. But rather than focusing his attention on the miracle over the miracle worker, he focused his attention on God's will instead of God's miracle. Very often when we see God, our attention is on the miracle instead of the miracle worker. Our attention is on our will. How often is it we seek God so that our will be done? It says, for his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That we seek him because we've had an issue, we've had a problem, and we seek God, say, God, this is my will. But are we inclining our ear to hear what God is actually saying? He may be saying, that's your will, my son, but it's not mine. Your will may have sounded like and seemed like it was for God, but if it's not his will, we don't want to be in that will. That I believe God's speaking to us today. And he's saying, just incline your ear to hear from me. I have things I'm trying to tell you, but will you listen? Will you give it all up to me? And what did all these people that we spoke about have in common? Is they understood to experience Christ more, to experience God more, they needed to turn their attention to him. And today I'm encouraging you to turn your attention to Christ. To turn your eyes and focus directly on Christ and God alone. You know, I found God so many times. And here, later on in the series, I'm going to explain a lot of them. But I found him in jail cells. Why? Because I was giving him my full attention. There's nothing else to distract me. I found God at the moment that I was done living. Why? Because I no longer had my eyes on everything else in the world. I was done. And I found God. Because I was fed up with everything else. I had tried it all. It didn't fulfill me. But our God is so merciful that even when he's your last choice, guess what? He still forgives you. He still accepts you. He still loves you. But I'm telling you today, it doesn't have to be your last choice anymore. It doesn't have to be the miracle worker that you run to when you've tried and exhausted all your resources. Why can't he just be the first? Why can't he be the one that we run to first? The one that we run to always. Where our heart is, our full attention is on him. Why do most people find God in the midst of a disaster? Because they finally incline their ear to hear. You want to experience him? Then give him your attention so you can. Give him your attention so you can. Individuals today become lost because their attention is tuned to the world rather than God. Even Christians become lost because their attention is tuned to the wrong thing. Only you can make the decision to tune your attention to God. Only you can make the decision to tune your attention to God.